So anyway, so Emakhosini, Emakho, Yanbingelela Nonke, and I greet the ancient ones that walk with you. I hope you can hear me. For the sake of time, I'm actually just gonna go ahead. But please let me know if you cannot hear me or if the video is not visible. Yeah, so I'm gonna just go ahead and start. So y'all have to forgive me. Today's message is gonna be a little bit all over the place, primarily because it just won't stop coming. Namanje, even now, like it just won't stop coming, and I feel it like fire in my bones. Okay, so if I am, remember I'm an ancestral vessel, if I am a little bit on fire, just know that this is a pressed message from the ancestors. You understand? So I hope at the end of this message we would come together and we would be on one page and encouraging our people. Yeah. Okay. So that being said, just a quick prayer before we start. Yo, Makosi. Oh, Baba, thank you for this day, this Sabbath, Baba Sobatla. Thank you for your love and your mercy. Thank you for your light, Baba, that radiates and guides us towards truth. We ask that you please, as we gather here, come gather, make yourself known. Let it be you who's speaking and not me. Baba Somandla, grant the spirit of understanding and wisdom. Kwabantu bakho, egameni lakho. Amen. Yo, so I have said like the Bantus are under attack, under spiritual attack. It's just that the way we've taught to disregard spiritual things. Never mind the fact that there are principalities, yes, princes and principalities that naturally put spells on cities and countries and continents to lull them to sleep, but that there are other things at play, and it's so obvious, you know. It's just that I think because we don't speak this too much, and when we speak it, the message doesn't connect. Like for instance, we're not taught Bantu history exactly, you know. We're not taught to trace our genealogies. In fact, such records were destroyed, you know. We look at the disconnection between us Bantus on the continent, and even on the continent between the countries that were not established by us. Okay, there is a plot, conspiracy to separate us, you understand, so that when we are divided, we are conquered. Which there are things that they do to us Bantus that produce a breeding ground in our communities for hatred, you understand, but not understanding that the things that we hate or we say we don't like. What is it, and who told it to us? You see, because we are learning the history of all these people, and yet we don't learn how interconnected that we are, even with us who are on the continent, with them that are off the continent. Marcos, we are literally so connected, and yet part of the reason why I'm even doing this is because I happen to have an encounter with someone here in South Africa who, I left a comment, maybe not, I have to assume who is South African. So it was this Operation Dudula account, yabo. So they had put out a video like this Nigerian drug dealer is leaving the country and he's boarding a one-way flight. I'm thinking, okay, right. If he's a drug dealer, like, how do you know he's a drug dealer, number one? And number two, if he's like that shady and he's being deported, wouldn't he be in jail? Like, why would he be boarding a first place like flight? And that guy didn't say anything. He's just saying the conditions in South Africa are, yo, my course, are not for them anymore. They are not conducive for life, you know? Whereas I leave a comment, is actually disgusting because you don't know, Guti, the way we are one, we are all Bantus, you understand? And for us to speak and to have a hatred, you understand? Never mind. Let us first, if we're looking at criminals, let us first look at the first criminals. Let's be honest. Let's look at the first criminals that first arrived here, who now caused this chaos, this disorder and chaos amongst the communities that we live in, the poverty that we live in, the poverty that is conducive for crime and violence. You understand the fact that Black people are in jail. Okay, now the system is very hard. Even here in South Africa, how long have we been waiting for the land to come back? You understand? And the resources. And for us to own the resources. You understand? There is some level of justice. Even if we must look at it today, and I'm even not even looking back in the day, you understand, when they first arrived. Because mind you, the people when they came here, they were not the saints of Europe there. They were like the criminals. They didn't want them there. And here we are, we're sitting. They didn't want them there. That's how bad they were. Yeah. Of course. So let us look first at let's look at history, you know? And I continue with the story, there was this comment that came back, and this girl was like, I'm sure it's a millennial, I'm sure. She was like, you don't care about our people, you don't care about your people. I'm like, please, man, the devil is a liar. Bantu people are my people, and I care. But because we don't open a book and we read, you understand? We don't find out that we are connected. Who is spreading the image of the Bantu now? What are the images of the Bantu that we see now today? Okay, we see people who are like really, like people in over the diaspora can attest. The images that they see of Africa is the poor. It's like there's no civilization, there's no roads, there's no nothing. You understand? They keep perpetuating they keep pushing that image. You understand? The mere fact that we don't know the history about the Black people, you understand, that are in Brazil, you understand, that are in the Caribbean, because most of the people that were enslaved here went there. 90% of them went there. You know, we see, okay, here Chinese people, okay, we see Khoisan. I mean, if you can Google Khoisan, a picture of Khoisan and a picture of an Asian person, okay, you'll see Guti, Aman. So there's a connection in some level, okay. But I'm speaking about the Bantus, understand? Remember, it is written, Guti, he that hates their brother does not know God. You understand? Now we are being pushed the issue that our people, you understand, we are being pushed that image that we are always needing aid. Okay? We are always poor. All right? We are always wild and ungovernable. We are killing each other. We are the ones that rap about murder. We are the ones that do such things, you understand? Who is engineering this image? Because that is actually not the image that we have of us, you see. So I will begin from the book of Psalm chapter 2. Why do the heathen rage and the people imagine a vain thing? The kings of the earth set themselves, and the rulers take counsel together against the Lord and against his anointed, saying, let us break their bands asunder and cast away cords from us. Emakhosini. You see. So I will also read from, let me just open this, from the Wisdom of Solomon. So the Wisdom of Solomon here, this passage actually speaks about how they fake the image of Umsindisi. It's the Apocrypha. So Wisdom of Solomon chapter 14 from verse 10. For that which is made shall be punished together with him that made it. Therefore, even upon the idols of the Gentiles shall there be a visitation, because in the creature of God they are become an abomination, and a stumbling block to the souls of men, and a snare to the feet of the unwise. For the devising of idols was the beginning of spiritual fornication, and the invention of them, the corruption of life. Okay. This is the image that they are putting about us. I know it's speaking about Msnisi, but technically from this message, I want us to take away the fact that the image of Black people, all right, they are corrupting it. It is producing corruption of life in us as a people. You understand? The devising of idols was the beginning of spiritual fornication. Okay, that is verse 12. I'm going to read it again. For the devising of idols was the beginning of spiritual fornication, and the invention of them, the corruption of life. So even when they created this idol, okay, this white savior, you understand, this is the idol that is the beginning of fornication, the invention of them, the corruption of life. You understand? We fell because it's an idol. It's a tradition of man. It's something that's man-made, something that's out of God's law. I'll go on and read. For neither were they from the beginning, neither shall they be forever. For by the vainglory of men they entered into the world, and therefore shall they come shortly to an end. For a father afflicted with untimely mourning, when he hath made an image of his son, soon taken away, now honored him as a God, which was then a dead man, and delivered to those that were under him ceremonies and sacrifices. Thus, in process of time, an ungodly custom grown strong was kept as a law, and graven images were worshipped by the commandments of kings, whom men could not honor in presence because they dwelt far off. They took the counterfeit of his visage from afar, and made an express image of a king whom they honored, to the end that by this their forwardness they might flatter him that was absent, as if he were present. You understand? So, Emakhosini, the same way in which they are destroying, or they have manufactured this image of the Savior, is the same way in order to actually, you understand, in order to put us under, you understand, in order to lead us astray. It's the same thing with the image of the black people and what they're doing, you understand, and the hatred that they are instilling in between us, you understand. We look on the news, we hear only people, no, but they're here to take our jobs. No, they're not here to take our jobs. I think we need to like sit back and look at history, because for the mere fact that they are hiding our history, it's because we are kings, we are queens, we are royalty. And united, when we are united, we are as Psalm 33. You understand? It says, when the people what, how sweet, oh, I have to open it, sorry, y'all. I just have to. When we are united, and I'm going to just give an example of all of this. When we are united, there is so much that we can do, but yet they must know, drive hatred between us, and not us coming together and seek to solve our problems, okay, that they started, okay. Psalm 33, behold, how good and how pleasant it is for the brethren to dwell together in unity. You know, it is like the precious ointment upon the head that ran down upon the beard, even Aaron, even the priest, the priest, the priest. That around the skirts of his garment, you understand? The priest is the one that is accessible to God, you understand? You understand? So, as the Jew of Hermon, and as the Jew that ascended upon the mountains of Zion, for where there is unity, there the Lord commands the blessing, even life forevermore. And I promise you, if we can unite, you understand, this killing of the Bantus in the diaspora, actually, you know, it will stop. We have the power within us. It's just that the drive is to separate and disunite us and hate. Forgetting ukuthi, hello, if you hate your brother, God is outside of you. You know not him. And how can you hate the seed of God on the earth? Does it make sense? I can't, people. I can't. Like the level of brainwashing, it is like this. It is exactly like this. Genesis 30, verse 37, okay? It speaks about when Jacob was with his uncle, ne, with Rachel and Leah, and he was like, okay, look, let me like establish a deal between us. Let me like separate some sheep, you understand? I'll take the spotted ones, and then you take the ones that are not spotted. Okay, what did Jacob do? um 37. And Jacob took him rods of green poplar and of the hazel and chestnut, and piled white stakes in them, and made the white appear which was in the rods. And he set the rods which he had piled before the flocks in the gutters, in the watering troughs, when the flock came to drink, that they should conceive when they came to drink. And the flocks conceived before the rods, and brought forth cattle, ring-strapped, speckled, and spotted. So this is even proven in genetics. You understand? The conditions under which you live, the information that you put your eyes in front of, all those things, you understand, it goes into your genetics, DNA, your genetics, yabo, and it breeds that thing. So the image of the Bantu that we've been seeing is not something that has been start now, you understand, and the image that they portray, all that negative image, because one day in 50 years time, we will forget that we were daughters of kings and queens, because number one, they would have wiped out our history completely if we don't do anything about it. Number two, Makhosi, we will not even be Bantu. There will not even be a Bantu person, you understand, because the aim is to remove the image of God in the earth. And so they are looking to corrupt that image. And whatever we put, the corrupt image that we put about ourselves, and the things that we hear about ourselves, if we keep listening to them and do not judge them immediately, condemn those things, they go into our psyche. You understand? And they will produce what it talks about. So I feel it like we just need to sit down and with our families and like go through history, because we cannot count on the system that we have and the education that we have to bring us together. You understand? Because there are people already that are dividing the nations. I mean, not the nation, the nation of the Bantus. So I want us to look at an example, ne? Okay, that was introduction. That's a long introduction. Sorry, this message is gonna be all over the place. So now I want to talk about just one example, okay, about how connected we are and how powerful and how rich we are, like the people who we come from. You understand that the people that we ought to be, the images of the people that we ought to be putting before our eyes and before our children's eyes, okay, is because they don't teach us. Can you believe me? Oh gosh, let me not even go in there. But I just, recently discovered this. And I realized actually these are our ancestors, and I'm about to explain this. So I want to talk about the kingdom of Mali. Okay. I could talk about many kingdoms, really. Honestly, I could go in depth, but I want to talk about specifically the kingdom of Mali, because this kingdom affects me personally today. Okay. Makosi, and it affects a lot of us in the South today and in the diaspora. Okay. The history that we have from the Mali kingdom is one that is powerful and worthy of retelling the generations that come after us. Okay, so I'm gonna specifically speak from Umansa Musa. Okay, Mansa, the word Mansa means ruler, and his name was Musa. Okay, so he reigned from 1312 to 1337 AD. Okay, he is the Mansa of the Mali kingdom, the Mali Empire from that time. But the Mali Empire first began from 800 AD to 1550 AD, 1550 AD. So this king of the Mali Empire was a Mandingo king. Okay. Mandingo people are the people that are from West Africa, ne? Originally and even still now, they are there. Okay. Um, so before ascending to the throne, he was second to Mansa Abu Bakari Kita II, who first sailed to the Americas and actually never came back. In fact, when Columbus and his crew uh, went that side, they found, one of his captains says he found Mandingo people, you understand, from Africa. So we know, even for the mere fact that China are there and they look like Khoisan, we were traveling the world. So the history in which they're telling us is false, you know. Makhosi amakhulu. So Mali is said to be rich in gold, salt, and copper, and they were trading with North and Central Africa. All right. So the wealth in which Mansa Musa had is said to uh, been so much that when he went to when he did his pilgrimage to Mecca in the year 1324, he gave away so much gold in Egypt that it took over 10 years. It caused so much inflation. The inflation rose so high that it took almost over 10 years for that inflation to recover, for the country to recover. So he also was highly into education, okay? And he would bring the greats of teachers, of scholars, of the greats, and he would teach them at the different schools, okay? So the University of Timbuktu was not something that was just one thing, but it was Umakhosi, it was separate schools, but under like umbrella, but it didn't have a central office. So there at Timbuktu, okay, they were specializing, or there were several schools that were studying anatomy, astronomy, physiology, medicine and surgery, anthropology, botany, evolution, mathematics, physics, chemistry, engineering, history, geography, and the arts. Okay. So these people are here on the continent, all right? These are the people that were here. Makhosi amakhulu. We hear about them. We don't even hear about them. Oh my goodness, I'm not even gonna tell you my age, but hey, at my age, I only discovered about Mansa Musa, of which I would have preferred that I would have studied about him, because I remember hearing that I was from the Mthetho tribe, and you know the whole thing of Shaga and whatnot, and I was like, ooh, wow, ooh, okay. But it sparked something like I could be proud of. It sparked like angazi, some spiritual strength, all right, that I know who I am and greatness comes from me. You understand? So these are the things we should be pushing in our schools, and not the image that they are trying to force down us, because that is the image that is producing the nonsense that we are seeing today, causing us to forsake God's laws. Okay, so I will go on. I speak about this empire importantly because they are linked, they are also ancestors to the people that were there in the Haitian Revolution. And I speak about the Haitian Revolution because it's something that we also really didn't speak about. I don't remember, not that I did history, honestly, but I mean, I did history until a certain period of time, you know, but we didn't study about it, we didn't know about it, and we don't know that actually those people in Haiti are related to us. The people who are teaching and studying there in Timbuktu, Makosi, those are our ancestors. They are related to us, and there's greatness in our blood. We just have to study, you know, like if you are somebody who is like trained to be a doctor, or you're training to be an engineer, you would want to look back and actually like look back at your ancestors. You understand? It will stir up. I mean, the things, look, it will stir up. The thing that you put before your eyes is the thing that you are going to do. That's why God had said, um, look neither to the left nor the right. Keep this thing before you. It will produce in you good success. You understand? So I speak about the Haitian Revolution because we don't know about these people. These kings and queens, and I'm not going to go too deep about it because it's too deep, but there's something that is very important that I would like to bring to our attention. So they took the Mandinga people amongst other people. So amongst the people that went to Haiti in slavery were the Congo, people from the Congo Kingdom, the Igbo, Ewe, the Yoruba, the Togo, people from Togo, Senegal, Guinea, Sierra Leone, the Windward Coast, Angola, Cameroon, Nigeria, Ghana, the Bara tribesmen from Mozambique, people from Mali, meaning the Mandingo, Makosi, people from Benin. Okay, so they all went there from slavery, you understand? But I love it because they went there with their culture. They didn't leave their culture, they didn't allow it. Yes, some people were slaves, but some people were able to escape, okay, and find secret places where they could come together, all right? Come together under the crisis in which they were in a foreign land. They brought their cultures together, they brought their languages together, they brought unity. The best thing about it, before 1804, okay, before that, the revolution of 1804, but before the revolution that began, okay, they came together with their priests and their high priests, okay, of voodoo, okay. Now I'm going to say again, you're gonna say voodoo, yo, it's evil. Ooh, no, no, it's because that colonizer told us that it's evil, okay. But voodoo is Makosi, the same thing that we practice here in South Africa is Ubu Prophet. You understand? And it even has Ubu Gedla. You understand? So, frankly, ain't nobody know medicines like the people from Mali. Okay. So, these people came together and they did the ceremony, okay, of like seeking guidance from the ancestors, seeking guidance from God, okay, and seeking that power, all right, and committing to themselves that, you know what, even if it means that we must all die, let the revolution continue to its end until we are free, so that even if a leader should pass away, the ancestors will come up, will appoint someone and give strength. You understand? God will come and make sure that strength and the vision of the revolution continues. You understand? So they knew that there were people that they had to not be afraid of death. Because what was death? Death was the entrance into the next kingdom, was the rebirth into the next kingdom. You understand? So they were aware of that. And because of that, I 150% believe it, yes, they were able to defeat 3 colonizers. They are the only nation, like black nation, that was able to conquer, like defeat 3 nations. You understand? Because they remembered who they were. They remembered that, hey, we are children of Mansa Musa. We are children of Mansa Abu, his father. We are children of kings. That, like, our kingdom was the richest kingdom. We know who we were and we know how we got there. And it wasn't so long also, from that time. But they knew who they were and they went back into their bloodline in order to carry out future plans of unity, of getting rid of the enemy. Young tall. So, like, we speak about here in South Africa, and I speak about here, these are our ancestors. I want to bring to knowledge something very important, ne? And I think it's not like known, but I feel like it's very important, and I feel like even those of us who actually know this ought to be speaking up against the hatred that is going on amongst uh, each other. We are the only nation that is against each other. Never mind, they're lying there in Russia and Ukraine. They're lying. They're not against each other. These people sit down in secret rooms there together. They're lying. Anyway, but we need to sit down, okay, here in South Africa and just educate people, because here in South Africa, as a prophet or someone who's a sangoma or a prophet, to understand, we have that ancestral spirit of Umdiki. Umdiki is an ancestor who is a Mandingo, a Mandinga, someone who is from West Africa, Makos. It is an ancestor who is gifting you from that kingdom. And like I said, the Mandinga people, there's no one who knows herbs and medicines like them. Like exactly like Timbuktu, how that the world came to study at Timbuktu. Okay, nobody knows medicine like the Mandinga people. And these are the ancestors that come to us that gift us to work. You understand? So I find it so disturbing that we would want to, like, we treat people as if we're not one. You understand? We were not together. Okay, so the Mandinga people, if you trace like the line of Shaga and the Zulus, that line, if you go back and you trace in the bloodline of the Mandinga people. And so this spirit is predominantly a spirit amongst the Ngoni people. Ngoni are the people who do not transgress God's laws, who don't transgress Ubuntu, the spirit of Ubuntu. That is who we are. We are the people, the children of Unguni. You know. So we are the people that don't hate like each other. I think we just need to come together and spread the knowledge, like, because we cannot trust the people who are putting out the image of Black people to educate us, because they're not doing us any justice. Yeah, bon. So ngiyacela, it is such a prayer of mine that we would come together and unite and stop talking ugly things about each other. Like, White people don't say ugly things about each other. Like Chinese don't say that. We don't hear. We're not divided. Like they are not divided the way they seek to divide Abantu. But that's not by mistake. It's because we are powerful. And when we unite, I'm telling you, the same thing that can happen in Haiti is the same thing that can happen for the whole entire Black community. No, of course, we just need to come together. Come together. Don't allow a person to speak bad about a foreigner in your presence, because remember, that person was chosen by God. I don't care ukuthi kwenzakaleni kwasho kacima ini, we did what and wrong and what is doing what. Remember where your ancestors came from. Remember the bloodshed that was shed by your ancestors for you to see today the image and the hatred and the communities that they make us live in are just breeding grounds for nonsense. And yet they like have budgets, they have things like that, you understand. And we're not out of slavery. We're really not out of slavery. Don't get it twisted. We should not be ignorant of Satan's devices, you know. So I wish that we could educate each other and come together. And find out who our ancestors are. Trace your genealogy if you can. Trace your tribe, trace whatever. Seek to find a good image from your bloodline and set it before you. It's key. It just might save you and your seed. As for me and my house, we will serve Nkulunkulu. So, with that being said, yeah, I wish you guys a blessed day. But before that, I will read the blessing up on you. It's tough. It's tough. Like it's tough. It's tough. It's tough. When I mean the Black people are spiritually under attack, it's tough. It's tough. It's tough. And there's no time. There's not much time. But ngiyacela niphile abantu, niphile ngicela niphile bantu, ngicela abantu abaphile. The Lord bless thee and keep thee. The Lord make his face shine upon thee and be gracious unto thee. The Lord lift up his countenance upon thee and give thee peace. uNkulunkulu anibusise. Makhosi nabaphila abantu. Sawuzana.